You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, it was certainly entertaining, but the Celtics, after going 3-1 on a just completed road trip, return home and lose a tough one against the Houston Rockets. 2-point Houston win, 114-112. Confusion in the end. Double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Houston a big run. Dillon Brooks hit everything. And the Rockets split the season series against the Celtics and pick up a win for Ime Udoka, his first ever against his former team. With that, we welcome you to our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college basketball play-by-play announcer, former show host, satellite radio, ESPN radio. Watched Celtics game on a small black and white TV growing up, and I loved it. You are locked on with the latest Locked On Celtics postcast, providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as a Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we are going to discuss, it's not a track game. It's not a surprise. The Houston Rockets are for real. They might be arriving well ahead of schedule. We're going to also discuss Jayson Tatum with a goose egg in the first half. How does that happen? How does that happen? Dillon Brooks, outstanding. How does a player knock down 10 threes on the road in Boston against the Celtics? We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. First, thank you. Also, hit the comment button. Everydayer or first-timer, join us. If you're a first-timer, welcome in. Join the show. Join the conversation. This episode of the Locked On Celtics postcast brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head on to FanDuel.com to get started. There was a lot to like about the Celtics on that 3-1 trip. Told you during the trip, you got Houston, first game back. First game back of a road trip. Always tough for the home team. Celtics had this one in the fourth quarter. Absolutely had it in the fourth quarter. But they walk out of TD Garden with a loss. And I don't want to hear cliches. I don't want to hear it's part of the process. I don't want to hear anything out of the Celtics right now. No Derek White. Luke Cornett in the starting lineup. No Sam Hauser. Okay. Houston's been without players as well. Jabari Smith Jr. has been out since January 3rd, missing both games against the Celtics. Back on January 3rd, earlier in the day, finding out he had a fracture in his hand. Game day, Cam Whitmore out, illness. Celtics, Al Horford was in the starting lineup within minutes of the opening tap. Wasn't introduced as a starter. Luke Cornett gets a start. Cornett battled. He did. So no Horford, no White, no Hauser. Still a lead in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown got off to a strong start. So did Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis opened up with a three to start the scoring right from the top. Tatum took 3 shots, 0 of 3 on threes in the first quarter. Porzingis, second three of the first quarter, 14-5 lead for the Celtics. Brown had a three to make it 17-9. And then the Rockets closed out. Celtics went 4+ minutes in that first quarter without scoring. Tillman had a 3 attempt, missed that. Pritchard, a 3 within 4, 29-25. Celtics down 31-27 after the first quarter. But that first quarter showed you that Dillon Brooks, Amen Thompson, and the Rockets were there to play. All night long it was Brooks and Thompson. Aaron Holiday a little bit. And then the big guy with the dunk late in the fourth quarter. There was a lot of miscommunication by the Celtics. There was a lot of scrambling around. Celtics were down 2 at the half, 54-52. Down by as many as 11 in that second quarter, never led at any point. Tatum first half, 0 of 5 from the field overall, 0 for 4 on threes, and 0 points in the first half. Drew Carter had mentioned it. First time since, I think, February of 2021 against the Miami Heat, where he did not score in a half. Celtics, though, strong third quarter. Tatum came alive. 8 of 8 at the line. Love to see that. 15 points in the third. Celtics up by 4. Amen Thompson early on knocked down a 3. Crowd got into it. Brown knocked down a three. Celtics up by 1. He had 8 in the third quarter at that point in time. Then Fred VanVleet came right back, knocked down a 3. Rockets by 2. Holiday to Tatum. Got the shot to fall. The and one is free throw. 5 points, down 4. Porzingis picked up his 5th foul at the 4:54 mark of the third quarter. Brooks knocked down a 3, his 8th of the game. Lead for Houston in that third quarter, back to 6. 26 at that point for Brooks. 9 of 18 overall, 8 of 12 on the three-point line. Out of a timeout, Joe Mazzulla went with Pritchard, Peterson, Springer, Queta, and Tatum. Brooks, a jumper, foul on Peterson, missed the free throw, still a 3-point game. Pritchard to Springer for a 3, knocked it down. Game tied at 79. Celtics were +4 going to the fourth quarter. Queta had a couple of free throws, putting the Celtics up by 1. Holiday, a quick bucket. Rockets then up by 1. That was Aaron Holiday. Pritchard a 3. 3 straight lead changes. Tatum the assist on the Pritchard 3. Celtics up by 2. Green a basket. 4 straight lead changes. A 2-for-1 situation. Tatum fouled on a 3. 3 of 3 at the line, up 2. Adams a miss. Drew Carter. Jayson Tatum has owned the third quarter. Cornette, offensive rebound. Closing seconds of the third. The putback, outstanding. Brian Scalabrine early on in the game saying this team is locked in early. Then later on, basically saying we're in for a bloodbath. This is going to be a bloodbath. Fourth quarter, great start. Cornette, a bucket to open up the scoring in the fourth quarter. Pritchard hit a 3. Celtics scoring the first 5, weren't done. 10-0 run going back to the third. Rockets a turnover. Brown a jumper from about 13 feet just inside the free throw line. A 7-0 start for the Celtics to the fourth quarter. 12-0 run going back to the third quarter. Pritchard a 3, 99-89. Cornette a dunk, up 12. Crowd got loud, into it. Then Brooks, not a silencer, but knocked down a 3. Scal, they, referring to the Rockets, just don't quit. Rockets 7 in a row on a Thompson basket inside the paint. He had 25 at that point. 2 free throws. Houston, 13 straight points. Thompson a layup. Rockets up 1, just over 5 to go. Holiday knocked down a 3 to end that 13-0 run. Celtics up by 2. Celtics challenged on a Holiday foul, lost the challenge, 1 timeout the rest of the way. The game tied 104-104. Again, the Celtics had a 12-point lead earlier in the fourth quarter. Celtics ball after a Holiday miss. Inbounds, KP dunk, assist from Brown, up 1. Holiday a steal. Brown a miss on a 3. KP had a block on the defensive end. Holiday missed on a 3. Brooks a 3. Houston by 2. His 10th 3 of the game and 36 points. And there were a couple of possessions prior to that where Brooks was playing back and forth with Şengün, was getting to it, extended out of the lower block on the near side, and he wasn't going to force that 3 up. He actually had an opening, but he knocked down a 3, his 10th of the game. Tatum had a strong take to the basket, tied the game up at 108. Did not go for the win in that situation, got to the basket. Thompson a bucket, 2-point Houston lead, 110-108. Brown, tough shot, miss. Houston ball, needed a stop. Brooks missed on a 3. KP the rebound. Brown, drive, 2 free throws. Clutch ones, 110-110. 11.8 to go. Ball in the front court. Celtics a foul to give. Şengün got past Cornette, got the dunk. Houston up. Tatum tied it up on a drive, got inside, 112-112. That was the one I was alluding to where he didn't go for the win. 5.3, Thompson, what turned out to be the game winner. Porzingis left the floor. Houston, the ball, possession, inbounding. Who's going to cover who here? Who do we have? Houston did a great job. Got the ball in. Thompson, the bucket. Proved to be the game winner. Again, confusion on who was going to go out and guard Thompson. Didn't force up a 3. Took the shot that provided the game winner. I don't know where you go from here. I know where you go. You go to play. You forget about it. You move on. But I don't want to hear the cliches after this one. That's a game at home against a team that has arrived. Number 2 in the East versus number 2 in the West. This was a Monday night. This wasn't on the national TV schedule or anything like that. By the way, the Celtics now 5.5 games behind Cleveland for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Cleveland won big. But there's nothing about Monday night's loss at home against Houston where you said, wow, this Houston team, they're pretty good. They beat the Cavaliers in the previous 2 games. They've been hot. They've been getting better and better. I'm going to talk about Ahmed Thompson. I'm going to give you some homework. I'm going to give you something to watch because I watched it just before the first matchup between the Rockets and Celtics in Houston, right after the turn of the calendar. I'm going to touch on that in the next segment. But do want to get to your comments. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, join the conversation. We've got some regulars and everydayers. The Real Darrell, Mike Driscoll checking in, Rain checking in as well. Let's get here. The Real Darrell, this team is consistent at being inconsistent. Come to my household because I got 2 teenagers, and from day to day, the stocks are up and down. They're volatile. Health is another thing with players in and out of the lineup from game to game. Yeah, and Horford was expected to be in the starting lineup right up till maybe about 4 or 5 minutes before. There was no report during the game as to why Al Horford was not playing. Even after they said Cornette's getting the late start, they said that Al Horford was available, did not play. We knew Hauser and White were going to be out. Mike Driscoll, I believe the C's win a series against anyone, and this stretch is just team playing way above their level. Brooks and Amen, but I am getting sick of hearing Scal give credit to these teams coming in. Thompson's a star in the making. He really is, Mike. Yeah, again, it's sort of that throwaway line of, we're getting everybody's best. That's been a theme now for the last handful of weeks, really even before Christmas. Well, when teams early on in the season, October and November and into early December, were giving their best, you were winning. You took care of this Rockets team the first time out. They are playing better. They're knocking down threes. Dillon Brooks, just the stats alone that he was putting up, the high percentage, the high volume of shots he was taking. You thought, okay, the cold stretch is coming. The later you got into the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, I'm thinking to myself, he's now going to go cold. That never came. It never came for Dillon Brooks. Rain. Bad game, clutch loss again. Yeah, and you've got, Tatum or Brown free throws, Tatum a bucket to tie it. But Thompson, a young player, poised for being a young player, a terrific talent, just hits the game winner. Enough is enough from Mike Driscoll. Sees fourth quarter discipline has to get better moving forward. This is a disturbing trend. You're up by 12. You're up by 12 points. The challenge, maybe you don't. Again, we can talk about it now as to, well, you shouldn't have taken that challenge. That might be on EEI and the Sports Hub on Tuesday. I don't know. Don't take that challenge there. You lost the timeout. You don't win the challenge. You win the challenge, you look like you're geniuses. But the fourth quarter, they're starting, especially at home. Close games. The Celtics do not have a winning record now. I think 5-point games decided by 5 points or less. I think they're a game under 500. Back to the Real Darrell. Ime knows how to coach and expects his players to leave it on the floor. I think Brian Scalabrine, the Real Darrell, mentioned that. You're not playing hard for Ime Udoka. You're going to become a spectator. And his guys played hard. They absolutely played hard in the game. Tatum, again, all his points. He ended up playing 42. 8 of 8 at the line. 19.7 assists, 6 rebounds. You'll sort of take that. I have Tatum and 30-point performances. That'll be part of numbers tonight coming up a little bit later on in segment number 3. But you look at Tatum's line, 5 of 14, 1 of 7 on threes, 8 of 8 at the line. 19.7 assists, 6 rebounds. And you're thinking, okay, but when Jayson Tatum doesn't score in the first half, there's got to be an answer to that. There's got to be an answer. 4 of the 5 starters in double figures. Pritchard, 15, knocked down 5 threes. It's been a while since he's knocked down 5 threes. Queta, 19 minutes, 4 points. Queta, yeah, the points, they're not gravy. They're great, and you need them, and you lose by 2. But he had 5 rebounds. Didn't have a block, didn't have a steal. Tillman got 6 minutes, 0 of 3 and 0 of 2 on the three-point line. Walsh got 4 minutes. Springer, 7. knocked down a three, and it was a big three. Peterson got 3 minutes as well. I mentioned Peterson was in there in the second half coming out of a timeout. So Joe Mazzulla shows that those guys can play a couple of minutes here and there. Don't bury them. Find their spots over the course of a game. Were they world beaters? No, they weren't. But just in terms of getting them out on the floor and providing maybe a spark or something, you'll know whether or not it's coming. And you're going to get it. But, overall, disappointing. A great game. A fun game to watch. Maybe the best game of the season. Asterisk, Celtics didn't win. Celtics lost in the closing seconds. The 13-0 run, where you don't want to burn through a timeout. Brooks, again, 13 of 23. 10 of 15 on the three-point line. So he was 3 of 8 inside the three-point line. Thompson had a triple-double, his first of the season in the victory a couple of nights ago against the Cavaliers. 33 points. And Brooks had 36. 4 of their starters in double figures. Van Vliet knocked down a couple of threes. He had 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Eason, who a lot of people like, he can fly around the floor. He can defend. 2 of 10, 2 of 7 on the three-point line. 2 of 10 overall. Aaron Holiday gets the better of his brother Drew on this night as well. Hit a break. I've got homework for you. We'll also talk about Luke Kornet. Maybe the Celtics avoided the injury bug as well because it was scary. Brian Scalabrine touched on it in the I think it was in the fourth quarter, but he was able to come back out on the floor. We'll discuss that as well. Continue with your comments right here on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Celtics lose by 2 at home. More coming. Luke Kornet and a assignment for you. I think you'll like it. You just got to get into it. Got to have an open mind. Details next. Locked On Celtics postcast presented by FanDuel. Want to take a moment? Acknowledge our everydayers and our first-timers. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Again, presented by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. 1 game, 2 teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting line feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field. And the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, we know what that is. That's icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5 and you win. And if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, back at it with the comments here. By the way, someone had watched the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel and the replay or watched it after we went live the other night. And I referred to them, hey, Monday, let's go for the series sweep. I said Astros. I do point out my mistakes on occasion. I'm human. I make them. Absolutely, 100%. Rockets. And the Celtics don't get the series sweep against the Astros or the Rockets. Rockets win it by 2. In Boston. Both teams winning on the opposing team's floor. Watch out for New York. This is from Michael. Watch out for New York. 1 game behind. They look good, and they've got a bench. I didn't want to agree with you. I wouldn't have agreed with you, Michael, a couple of weeks ago. But, yeah, right now, they blew out the Memphis Grizzlies Monday night, right? Memphis has been playing well. Yeah, they've got a lot of pieces. And I don't know how many times they play the rest of the season, but they've only played once so far this year. That was on opening night when the Celtics raised banner number 18 back in October. That was a blowout win. Celtics thought, or the Knicks rather, I think, thought on that particular night they were still in the preseason. But yeah, Michael, right now you've got to think that. And I said it. I was determined. The Celtics, if they don't catch the Cavaliers, absolutely number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. That's up in the air right now. Still a lot of games to be played. Pascal checking in. Welcome. That was a great game to watch. Absolutely. Sucks that they lost at the end, but execution at the end was awful. Yes, it was. Who had Dillon Brooks making 10 threes? Pascal, outstanding. Thank you very much. You're right. Across the board. Michael, Boston needs an inside man. Everyone wants a wing. Read earlier in the day, Cavaliers out on the market for a wing player. Up front, after Porzingis, and Porzingis, there was a play on a miss, went to the corner, hit the ball off for the Rockets. I mean, he's there. He had to put back on his own miss, went and got it, and dunked it home. Missed, followed his own miss, dunk. Crowd was outstanding. He got a T there. Brian Scalabrine didn't like it. Not if can't. I mean, sometimes. I mean, Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks had a flop, went to the floor, moved around, celebrated that. Not why the Celtics lost, but Porzingis right now he's had a heck of a stretch right now. But it's not resulting in rattling off 4 or 5 wins. The Celtics could have been a season high in terms of games over 500 with a victory. It would have been 19 over, which is just baffling to me to a certain degree for the Celtics. Get back here for a minute. Could have been 32-15. Could have been, last 7, 4-3. Last 12, 6-6. Again, they've been hovering right around that 500 mark. They could have started creating some distance. I mean, you walk out of there, again, entertaining, great basketball game, but at home, you got to come away with a victory. Mike, one more. I want to know your thoughts. Are teams afraid of the Celtics? We know what they are capable of, but this stretch makes opponents feel at ease, even if they're down. That, to me, is more concerning. Yeah, I mean, they didn't go away. Brian Scalabrine said in the fourth quarter, down 12, 13-0 run, right back into it. And can they get down the floor? Miss, rebound, boom, down the floor. So, Amen Thompson. It might have been during the holiday break. Looking around Netflix, Max, Disney, looking for something to watch. And there it was. I didn't know what it was. Called a buddy of mine who is in the know better than I am. I'm like, what is this documentary on Amazon with the Overtime Elite? That's when I was first I knew Amen Thompson and his brother Asar were drafted 4 and 5 a few years ago. It was 23 draft. But all of a sudden I'm watching them with the Overtime Elite, the documentary again on Amazon. 2 seasons. And they're highlighted. They go through draft night, all those different things. It's worth watching. That's your homework. Go watch it. Let me know what you think of it. You probably already said, hey, I watched that a long time ago. Where are you? That happens to me a lot in watching series or things like that. I still call it a documentary. Maybe it documented the entire 2 seasons of the Overtime Elite program. And one of those programs is actually up in Massachusetts in the coming days. And I'm like, wow, I want to go see this. And doesn't work for my calendar. But they're playing Putnam Science out of Connecticut. And I'm very familiar with that program, although I've never seen them play as well. Coach Espinoza does a terrific job. But go watch it, Overtime Elite. Google Overtime Elite. And that's where I first sort of was introduced to who is Amen Thompson. Asar, number 5 to the Pistons in 23. Amen was 1 pick ahead. History in the NBA draft by the Thompson twins. And Amen Thompson didn't play the first time because, remember, he got suspended because basically throwing Tyler Hero to the floor of the Miami Heat. And I believe Asar has been injured during the course of the season. May have been in one of the games against the Celtics. Michael checking in. Starters can't play more than 5 games without somebody getting hurt or injured. What's up with that? That's the NBA. Load management. Horford's had a sprained big toe on the left foot. It's to me, and I'm not trying to poke fun, but some of the designations with the injuries that they put on the injury reports. Hauser was earlier today, I believe, right hip impingement. Got to get out of here. Get into segment number 3. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the Celtics are like some teams where they're holding guys out. I mean, the Mavericks are just decimated right now with injuries. They're still winning some games, but the Celtics haven't been. I mean, Porzingis, you knew he was going to be out at the start of the season. Brown missed a couple of games here. Tatum, I don't think, has missed more. I'd have to go look at it right now. But yeah, I mean, those other guys have to step up, though, and they have. But Mike, in terms of not being afraid of the Celtics right now, no, that's gone. I mean, you're coming into Boston. You're the quote unquote upstart Houston Rockets. They didn't care. They came out and balled. As I say, Rockets can ball. 0 from Tatum in the first half. That's a big part of it. Dillon Brooks from downtown. Entertaining game. We've hit that as well. Tony checking in. Tony, first timer on this one. Welcome into our Locked On Celtics postcast. Boston Celtics. No, Tony. They're not frauds. Going back to last year, everyone was injured. No, I mean you're playing the Jimmy Butler right there. Jimmy Butler didn't, he was hurt. Hey, if he, Tony, I love you. I can't agree with that. I mean, look at what the Celtics record was in the NBA playoffs last year. I can't go there. Numbers of the night. Look ahead. Tough one, real tough one for the Celtics. Hey, our Locked On, or your favorite podcast, now has a newsletter as well. We introduced the Locked On Celtics Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free right now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the information that you need from the Locked On Celtics, Locked On NBA newsletter. Reminder as well, keep up with everything with the New England Patriots, with Locked On Patriots, with Mike Debate. All right, not too many numbers of the night, but this is one. This is one for me. Jayson Tatum did not score in the first half, and Drew Carter had it. First time for Tatum not scoring in a half since a game on the road against the Miami Heat, and that was in February of 2021, I believe. So it had been a while for Tatum and score in terms of not scoring any points and a half. But Jayson Tatum has now gone 6 straight games without a 30-point performance. 6 straight games for Tatum without going for 30 or more. That's one of my numbers of the night, one I'm paying attention to. Very few turnovers against the Mavericks on Saturday. 14 turnovers for the Celtics in the loss. 2-point loss against the Houston Rockets Monday night at TD Garden. Houston, 21 points off turnovers. 8 of those 21 points coming in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, 5 lead changes, 4 ties. Houston, one of the top teams in terms of fast break points on the season. They outscored the Celtics 5-0 on fast break points in the fourth quarter. 18-12 overall. That's why I bring that up. It was 13-12. The Celtics were basically matching the Houston Rockets in one of their top categories offensively in terms of getting out and fast break points. The game featured 13 total lead changes, and again, 5 of those in the fourth quarter. Celtics, 12-point fourth quarter lead and fall by 2. There was one more that I wanted to look at. Offensive rebounds. I don't think, 12-7. So Houston, again, one of their strengths, rebounding, out-rebounding the Celtics on the offensive end, 12-7, but the Celtics had the advantage overall, 41-39. So they sort of took away one of the strengths. But Houston knocked down 17 of 41 three-point attempts, 42% overall. The Celtics were 15 of 39, well below their season average of right around 49, so almost 10 less three-point attempts, and the Celtics were 39% on the three-point line and 19 out of 20 from the line, including 8 of 8 from Tatum. So Tatum had the big third quarter for the Celtics after not scoring in the first half. We're at 15, 8 of those 15 in the third quarter coming from the free throw line. And then Tatum in the fourth quarter played the entire quarter, 2 shots, 2 makes, 2 for 2, and 4 points. How is Jayson Tatum taking 2 shots in the fourth quarter? Brown took 6, hit just 1, and missed on all 3 three-point attempts. Peyton Pritchard knocked down a couple of threes in the fourth quarter and played almost the entire fourth as well, just over 11 minutes on the floor. And again, he had 2 threes in that fourth quarter. Wherever the drawing board is for the Celtics, they've got to find it. They've got to get to it, and they've got to start figuring this out. Because you want to go into the All-Star break. Right now, you're limping. You're taking on water. You need to go into the All-Star break feeling good. Reserves are named this week. Celtics are only going to have one All-Star, and that's Jayson Tatum. I was lobbying for Derek White for a while, but realistically, that is not happening for the Celtics. Too many guys in front of them at this point in time. Too many guys in front of them. What's next? 5.5 game lead for the Cavaliers for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Could have kept it at 4.5 with a win because the Cavaliers beat up on the Detroit Pistons. Cavaliers with the win Monday night against the Pistons, snapping a 3-game losing streak, their first 3-game losing streak of the season. Hey, 3-5, now 4-5 in their last 9. If this is a bump in the road for the Cavaliers, they're going to win the East easily. I want to give you one more number of the night because I put this together. And, now with the loss, I'd like to do this. There's no way the Celtics get to 64 wins this season. We know that. That was their win total in the regular season last year. But now, the Celtics are going to have to go. I can't do the math. I'll have it for next time. With a win, well, right now, I'm doing this to myself. I don't know. 32 wins on the season. You need 28 wins the rest of the way to get to that 60-win total. I don't see that happening either. What's next? Home game against the Bulls on Wednesday, then 3 in a row. New Orleans, Philadelphia, Cleveland on the upcoming road trip. We'll be with you live within minutes of the final buzzer of the Bulls and Celtics matchup on Wednesday from TD Garden. The Bulls, they're 1 win in the 3 so far this year. Celtics have won in Chicago twice this year. Celtics losing at home against the Bulls, and their only meeting, that was a back-to-back where December 19th at Boston, December 21st at Chicago. Celtics lost at home to the Bulls 117-108, and the first of that back-to-back won 2 nights later in Chicago, 123-98. Again, we're going to be on within minutes of the final buzzer Wednesday, hopefully talking about a Celtics victory, but boy, put together a win streak that's more than 2 in a row. Right now, you take the floor Wednesday night, looking to have a full squad available, and you're looking to avoid a second straight loss, something they've only done on 1 occasion this season. Locked On Sports Boston, number 1 place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day.